Like, I feel like Kevin Samuels got a lot of people's heads messed up as it relates to what a high value man actually is. So, yeah, the conversation that centered around this whole bus gate, as we'll call it, that particular clip is fascinating to me, that so many people are going in online, as it relates to the bus driver scenario. I'm surprised at the fact that something that's existed for an incredibly long time, people seem to be pushing back against, right? Like it almost makes no sense to me, to be very honest. Like, since when has people of affluence, since when has notable individuals not been who's most desired? Like, I feel like Kevin Samuels got a lot of people's heads messed up as it relates to what a high value man actually is. And I get it, right? Like, I understand the overall argument that sometimes is being made as it relates to unrealistic expectations that people may have. I guess in this particular case, it may be women, as it relates to what it is that they're looking for or what it is that they value in a mate. But to me, I kind of feel like where things are taking a dark turn is we're getting to a space where we're starting to tell people what their self-worth is. And that, to me, is something that it's subjective. It's something that, first and foremost, you as an individual have to define. A lot of what I'm starting to see in our comment section is people more or less making it seem like someone does not deserve what it is that they're going after, right? It's almost like if they don't meet certain criteria or they don't hit certain metrics, all of a sudden an individual deems that you don't deserve what it is that you're looking for. And it's like, who the fuck are you to tell somebody what they can and what they can't achieve, right? Like, I mean, the majority of the men that I'm seeing in these comment sections now, it's like, if you're overweight, how dare you expect to be loved by someone, right? Like, how dare you expect to have a six-figure man and you're overweight, right? And it's like, who are we to tell someone what they can and what they can't achieve? That's like me telling you the same thing. Like, we don't see a lot of odd couples together. Like, we have not seen individuals get placed together because they were in the right place at the right time. This whole thing now, all of a sudden, of I got to tear a woman down in order to build myself up, right? A lot of people are starting to do that, and it just feels incredibly weak to me. That's probably the best word I can use. Like, I see a lot of weak shit online nowadays, man, that's being passed off as like strength. Just the entire conversation and the way that we're waging these discussions. People get offended when you have standards. People get offended when you decide that you want something specific, when you have a particular criteria. All you see in the news feed is, oh, well, I guess you're going to die alone. Be prepared to be lonely. And it's like, okay, why does that matter? Like, why are you so invested in whether or not someone is going to be alone or not? You know what I mean? Like, and who are you to determine whether or not they will be alone? Oh, well, I guess you need to be prepared to be alone. It's like, when did that become the argument? And why is it that a person has to lower their standards in order to be with someone? And furthermore, why is it that you think they have to be with someone? That's the biggest part about the entire argument that I think is not resonating with individuals just yet. What does that say about you when a woman rather be alone than be with your ass? And I think that that's what's starting to sting the people, is that they are coming to the conclusions that people would rather be alone, that they are happier alone than being with your crusty ass. And when you think about that, it's like, that does say something. And I understand it. I kind of get it. I've been in situations like that where it's like, if I can't get what I want out of a particular situation, I'll do without it. The 745 conversation, I was dating this woman one time, and it was wild because we all got different methods of thinking in terms of how we approach things and how we go after our goals. I was someone that said that until I get what it is that I want, I would rather do with nothing, right? I was dating this woman, and her belief was, no. The way that I go about it is, the reason it's called 745, because at the time she was driving a BMW and she had like the 3 Series. Her whole thing is no, I'm gonna get the car that I can afford now, and then she's just gonna graduate as she progresses, so as she closes more deals and she can afford more, all right, now she'll graduate to the 5 Series, and eventually she'll graduate to the 745. Whereas with me, I was like, nah, I don't feel comfortable driving this 3 Series. I was like, if I was gonna drive one, the one that I wanted was the 745. So it was like, if I can't have the 745, then I won't get a BMW. If I can't get the car that I want, I'm not going to settle for the low model and then work my way up. Now, I don't believe that I was right. I don't believe that she was wrong. I think that we just both had different perspectives of how we were going after accomplishing our goals. See, with me, what I knew was that a lot of people get that 3 Series and then they settle. Right now, all of a sudden, you start making excuses as to why the 3 Series is probably the best thing for you to have at that particular moment. Well, you know what? The turning ratio is a little bit tighter. It's better on gas mileage. Man, it's actually kind of dope. And then before you know it, that 745 becomes a far distant desire or goal. And before you know it, you just release it all together because you've convinced yourself that really the 3 Series is better. That's not what you came in here to get. But now all of a sudden you're convincing yourself that that thing that's less than what you desired is better. And that's what happens. We all have a tendency because comfort breeds complacency. And so I did not want to be comfortable. I needed to be uncomfortable in that space because I felt like the hungrier I am, the more it's going to make me aggressive. I'm going to get up earlier. I'm going to push harder until I achieve ultimately what it was that I desire. We had different states of thinking, right? Her way worked for her, and she's doing very well for herself. No disrespect to her state of mind, but my state of mind was I knew that if I had taken the car that was less than what I desired, it's still luxury. It still feels good. I was going to become complacent, and I would not have the same level of ambition and drive to go after the thing that I actually desired. So for me, I was comfortable with driving just a regular car, right? Like a Maxima or something that was more in my class rather than go luxury, but get the low end version of the luxury. Now, again, no disrespect to anyone that drives something less than the top of the line model in luxury. That wasn't the conversation. The conversation is about my willingness to sacrifice and go without something until I achieved what it was that I desired, right? That's where a lot of women find themselves. They're not attempting to repudiate all men or repudiate all black men, but it's saying until I achieve what it is that I desire, I'm comfortable with being alone. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong because when you think about it, there is a lot more peace in being alone and being left to your own devices than just having a placeholder there that's stressing you the fuck out, right? That's having a placeholder there that's constantly ragging on you or making you feel less than or not building you up, helping you to level up, not holding their weight, holding their end of the bargain, helping to progress you and you all as a unit. There's one thing if you're talking about a woman that won't date beneath a certain status, that won't recognize potential in someone and work with them towards moving forward and growing together. Like, I understand the pushback when it comes to that. But when it comes down to just expecting her to settle for any old body just so that she can have someone there, like, nah, that's a bullshit argument. And if that's the stance that you're taking, or if that is the argument that you're waging to convince someone to be with you is, well, you might as well go ahead and be alone. Like, nigga, that is not enough. That is not enough to entice me to want to be with you if it's you or nothing. And that's what you're trying to convince me that, oh, you got a choice. It's either me or nothing at all. And it's like, dude, come on. Nah, this sounds like a weak ass straw man argument that you're trying to build to trick someone into being with you. Like, nah, I see no value in that. I see absolutely no value in that whatsoever. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong.